Hello, my name is Skylar Grossett, and I am going to take the time in this video to answer some questions revolving around culturally responsive teaching. The first question is, what are cultural influences on teaching and learning? What is cultural competence and its role in the instruction of ELs? How can ELs' cultural values and beliefs be integrated appropriately in the context of teaching and learning? Well, there are often many cultural influences on teaching and learning, especially when it comes to students that may have recently moved to the United States. They enter the new school system with a different native language, culture, and often religious background, which can be very different than the majority of students that are currently enrolled. With all of these extremely different social norms, assimilating can be an intense process for the child. Cultural competence specifically refers to how well people are able to interact with others that may not share the same values as them. Cultural competence includes a person's social skills, attitudes, and awareness of cultural differences. A person who is lacking in these skills would be considered to be lacking in cultural competence. Ways that educators can try and bolster their cultural competence are through building relationships with their students, such as learning the child's academic strengths and weaknesses, as well as finding ways to make the classroom have an overall comforting and welcoming atmosphere for the EL learners. What is the role of culture in student learning? The role of culture in student learning has a massive impact on the entire learning process. Depending on where the student is from, culture can have an effect on teamwork as well as individual work ethic. In a collectivist society, the amount of work that an individual is willing to do is often tied to how well the group is working together as a whole. And it also influences how much time and care that each individual might put into the project. Depending on the values that the child holds and the values that the society around them holds. On the other hand, the American school system takes a very individualistic approach to work, meaning that when there is not a group setting, this often encourages the child to work harder to pick up that extra slack. With these major differences and emphasis put on group work versus individual work ethic, it changes the child's participation level. As far as how this plays into language acquisition, a core part of language acquisition is being able to apply the material to real-world scenarios. A great way for EL students to practice this is through interactions with their peers, including how they listen, comprehend, formulate, problem solve, and respond to conversations and other social situations. What are some strategies that we can use to support and celebrate cultural diversity within instruction? There are so many great ways that educators can diversify their classroom and provide additional support for their students. One of these ways is through providing diverse reading material within the classroom. Oftentimes, students really appreciate the access to materials that help better represent them. Another great way for teachers to engage with their students and provide additional support is to build a good rapport with the student's family. Making an effort to keep consistent contact and provide frequent updates helps strengthen the student-teacher bond. Finally, if you want to be an advocate regarding positive change for the child, academically and socially, having a good rapport with their family will help improve this. What are some strategies for responsiveness to different strengths, needs, and identities of EL students, including special needs? Some strategies for responsiveness are to establish inclusion, help develop positive attitudes, enhance the meaning, and help the students develop higher confidence levels. Some strategies that an educator can use to engage with EL students and special needs students are to learn as much as you can about your students, to integrate real-world problems into situations, introduce new concepts, bring in diverse speakers, as well as utilize various forms of technology and media to engage with the students. What is the importance of understanding the social and emotional, as well as cultural needs of students? It is critically important that educators take the social and emotional needs of their students very seriously. A child that is struggling mentally or emotionally will not perform very well. How this applies to the classroom setting is the teacher must provide physical materials as well as plenty of social opportunities in order for the child to acclimate. The more you know about your EL student, the easier it is to set them up for success. Now, how does family and community come into play? Family and cultural background have a huge effect on ELL students, especially if those students recently immigrated from a different country. This means not only do those students have a different native language than English, that more than likely their friends, their family, and members of their community also speak a different native language, which means that the child may not get very many opportunities outside of school to practice English. The teacher in the school district will have to make up for that with most of the social interactions and building blocks being applied within the school setting. What are some strategies to build and foster strong family, community, and school partnerships? There are quite a few strategies that educators can use in order to try and foster deeper bonds with their ELL students and their families, such as taking the time to meet the family in person, as well as keeping frequent contact in which you update the family about the student's progress, allowing the family to come in on cultural days or days when events are being held to participate. And finally, just to simply remember to be respectful to the student, their family, amid any differences that they may have from you or the students, to maintain decorum and openness during your social interactions will go a long way with the student and their families. Those are my responses for culturally responsive teaching. And thank you. I hope you have a great day.